everybody, S.A. Spiker here. I want to talk to you today about some of these paintings I've been doing. Say what? Huh? No, I don't know anything about that. I was gonna... Oh, man. What the heck? Why do you keep interrupting me? Every time I'm trying to do the stinking show. Alright, well, what... Alright, well then what is it? What? Huh? Spray paint caps? What the heck am I supposed to say about spray paint caps? Alright, here you got... When I talk about spray paint caps, I'm not talking about this thing here. I'm not sure, maybe you call that a lid or something, I don't know. But spray paint caps, I'm talking about this piece of plastic on the top there. You push down on that, and spray paint squirts out there. Alright? What more? What do you... Huh? Oh, man. How do I get myself into this? Well, I guess the first thing I should say about spray paint caps is not all spray paint caps are created equally. And what I mean by that is pull one of these caps off the Rust-Oleum can here, and you got a stem sticking out the top of the can, and a hole in the bottom of that cap fits right on there. Most other spray paints, pull the cap off, and you got a stem sticking out of that cap there, and a hole in the can where that stem goes into. Now these are what's called a male cap, and these other ones here are what's called a female cap. Now, hey, stop that chuckling back there, Herbert. I know it's you. This is a good clean show. We're not even going to go there. I didn't invent these terms. That's just what they're called. So let's move on now. And with these Rust-Oleum paints, which is what I'll be talking about, next thing you need to know about all caps not being created equally is these ones that come on there when you buy them at the hardware store or wherever. These are what's known as fat caps. And that's not because they're big and round. That's because of the spray pattern that comes out when you spray these things. Another cap available are called thin caps, or in Rust-Oleum sometimes they're called outline caps. Outline and thin caps are the same thing. And what that means is, again, the spray pattern. The thin caps will have a little bit narrower spray pattern, and you'll get a smaller circle, or where your paint's going to hit the page. And some spray paint artists really like the thin caps. I've heard some say that that's all they use. They'll switch all their paints over and just use the thin caps. I don't mind the fat caps. That's what I started with. That's what I've been learning with. So they work fine for me. But I did get some thins just to have that option and try them out and see what the difference was. And I like the thins. They're fine. So if you go down to your local hardware store and say, hey, I need a bunch of these fat caps, or how about give me throw in some thin caps too. I need some extra caps for my thing. They're going to look at you and say, what are you talking about, boy? We don't sell that crap here. You'll be like, what do you mean? I need some caps. Where am I supposed to get my caps? So I ordered these off of eBay. I got a pack of 20 of them for about $7, so something like 35 cents each. That's not too bad, but yeah, you're not going to just be able to find these anywhere. You can't just go buy these. But if you find a place like that where you can order them online and just have them sent to you, that'll work out the best. But there were two different types of thin caps that I found on there. And I like these big ones a lot better. These ones, I don't like that beveled edge on there. If you press on that to spray the can, it kind of tilts the cap forward. And so instead of spraying straight out here, it'll spray down here somewhere. Sometimes it might even hit the edge of the can here and build up paint, throw out drops. So I'll try to get my finger right on top of it and spray it that way, and that works a little bit better. There's not much room there. Sometimes the spray will hit my finger, and that's why this thing has green paint all over it. It was real hard spraying those, but these bigger thin caps, they work great. just make sure when you're ordering caps that you get what you need. You know, if you need male caps or female caps, know what you're looking for and make sure you order the right thing. If you're using the male caps, I've heard other spray paint artists say that they like a brand called New York. They use the New York Thins a lot. Is a real popular cap. Hey, have we got any WD-40? I mean, my chair's kind of squeaky here. Getting kind of distracting. I want that showing up in the video. Listen to that. You hear that? Chair. So what happens after you use these paints for a while, the caps will start to get clogged up. You'll go to spray your paint, and instead of going where you're aiming it, it'll squirt over here somewhere, or come out about half strength and kind of dribble out onto the page, or may not even come out at all. And one thing about the Rust-Oleum as well is, you know, some paints, or, you know, in the old days, if you're using spray paint, they'd always say hold it upside down and spray it to clear out the cap. Well, these Rust-Oleum cans are designed to keep on spraying even if they are upside down, so that you don't want to try and do that with these. They won't stop coming out until the can's empty. So they do have a tendency to get clogged up after you use them for a while. And if it happens in the middle of while you're trying to do your painting, you know, that can be kind of a problem, because you can't afford to be waiting around, you know, when you're sitting there and your paint's starting to dry. You got to keep on going. So it's good to have some extra caps. And when that happens, just pop it off and stick a new one on there and keep on going. If you don't have any extra ones, you can pull one off another can and keep on going that way. So sometimes if it's not spraying right, I just try to pick off any dried up paint that's stuck right on the end of that cap there. And, you know, it might start working right after that. And it's probably also a good thing when you're doing your paintings, or, you know, I never get around to doing it. I'm too busy thinking about my painting. Or maybe when you get done, to get paper towel or a rag, maybe with just a little bit of paint thinner on it, and clean off all the wet paint that's accumulated on the front of that cap, and get out of the way what's still wet, and that might help you out from keeping these things getting clogged so much. But eventually you're going to need to order some extra caps just to make it life a little bit easier on yourself. And then you got all these clogged up caps. Well, what the heck are you going to do with them? You know, if you're rich, you can just keep on buying new ones, but most of us have to try to be a little bit more economical, so it's a good thing to try and clean them up. And, you know, I got like a glass jar I'll stick a bunch of them in, or these type of jars like this work really good, has good seal on there. And I'll soak those for about 24 hours, usually in lacquer thinner or acetone. You could use paint thinner or mineral spirits, but it's not quite as strong, and the lacquer thinner or acetone usually work a little bit better. So you take those things after 24 hours and take them out of there. I usually try and clean them up a little bit with an old toothbrush. Can maybe take a toothpick and try and poke it up into that hole and get a bunch of clogged paint out of that way. But you never want to try to stick anything in this hole where the paint comes out. Don't take a pin or a needle and stick it in there or anything like that, because that's liable to distort that plastic, and it's going to affect the spray pattern and really mess this thing up. You might as well just throw it away once it gets messed up like that. And I'll fish these things out of there. I'm not going to do it on camera just because the fumes are so bad with acetone, and I'll have my vent fan on, a respirator when I try to scrub these things. But it usually cleans out pretty easy. Take them, and after I brush most of the loose paint off, I'll rinse them out. Have like a bowl of... Sorry about that. Have like a bowl of warm soapy water. I'll dump them in basically to clean off the solvent, and run them under the sink, you know, right under the faucet, and let that water shoot down in there. I usually get them cleaned out pretty good. And to test them, I always use a can of clear coat. It's a good way to test them. You don't have to worry about it getting reclogged with any pigments from the paint. And if it sprays good through there, then you know that's a good cap, and you can set that off to the side into your good pile. That's going to be your good clean caps. And if you're still having problems, still getting clogged up, sometimes some of this goof off graffiti remover will work pretty good. It's made for removing spray paint. You don't want to leave them soaking in that for 24 hours. You might end up with a melted lump of plastic when you come back. But you can leave them, you know, spray some of that down in there and leave that on there. at least, you know, a good hour or so, and you'll be fine. And then take it to the water and get it rinsed up and see if you can get it unclogged that way. You know, sometimes you might just run into a stubborn one that never comes unclogged. It's usually easier just to throw that away rather than going through more headache. But usually most of those will come out pretty clean, and you can save those and have some new fresh ones for next time. So when you use a can up, especially the clear coat, it's always a good idea to go ahead and pull that cap off and save that and try and clean it up and reuse those things. 35 cents right there. Don't want to be throwing that away. And the other thing to be aware of, you know, they do say that most spray paint accidents, such as spraying it in your eye, that type of thing, occur when you're messing with these caps. Taking them on and off and messing around with those things. So be careful about that. You might want to wear a pair of safety goggles when you're working in close range of these things, or testing them out, or whatever. Alright, so how was that? I talked about spray caps. You happy now? Can I move on and talk about my new paintings now? I got... Huh? What do you mean out of time? Alright, well I guess I'll have to talk about my paintings some other time. I never really get a chance to do what I want to do. I don't know how to understand. Alright, well this is S.A. Spiker. We'll see ya.